Hello, my friends. Uh, I hope this finds you well. This is our weekly opportunity to do a little sacred reading together. We're reading our way in short little snippets through the first letter of John. This is traditionally called Lectio Divina, which is simply Latin for sacred reading. And so, our divine reading. So, to say just a little bit summary about what Lectio Divina embodies is, for me, my understanding is that we can believe that the text can speak to us fresh right now, just hearing the words that Spirit may speak into our lives, something we need to hear in this moment. There's a place for Bible study where we sit down and we read some commentaries and we look at the original words and try to figure out exactly what the original text may have attempted to say in the first century, second century when it was written. However, Lectio Divina is not as fascinated by those issues. Lectio Divina believes that the practice of Lectio Divina believes that Spirit can speak in a living way to the text through a word or a phrase that rises up to us, or perhaps an image that rises in our minds as we hear the text read. So I'm going to read the text aloud. I'll pause briefly, during which time, if you want to stop the video and let the text speak to you personally, right where you are, I encourage you to do that. However, after that brief pause, I will also add what image or word or phrase rose to me, and perhaps a little bit of why I think it might be important in my life. And oftentimes I kind of stretch it to other lives as well when I do that. So today we're looking at 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 through 17. This is a word from the Lord. Catch your breath. Listen for what this may say to you. Do not love the ways of this world, nor the things you can get from the world. When you love the world, it shows that the love of our Father, the Great Spirit, is not alive in you. For all the things found in the world, desiring to walk in broken ways, longing to have everything you see, thinking you are better and more deserving than others, these things are not from our Father, the Great Spirit, but from the world. This world is coming to an end along with all its broken desires. But the ones who walk in the ways of God will remain to the time beyond the end of all days. The image for me that rose well, there were a number of images and words that rose for me, but particularly this world, or the world, as this world, as the text speaks about it. When I hear the text, it invites me to consider what ways of the world I have bought into, that I live into, that are culturally driven, not spirit-driven, not God-driven, not certainly following the path of Jesus? What are those things that I have drawn in culturally and have been impressed by me, the things I pursue which keep me separate from or other than, and the things that the text talked about were, for me, things pursuing things, wanting to own things, thinking I deserve more than someone else, and striving to have more than someone else rather than simply striving to have enough. And that's the voice of culture. The voice of culture invites me to constantly compare myself to, in my case, other pastors, other spiritual leaders. How are they doing compared to me? Or perhaps other followers of the path. How are they doing compared to me? And in the end, the idea of comparison, and maybe that's this idea of the way of the world is a way of comparing myself rather than simply living as myself in this, whether it goes with or against the culture. Because to pursue the way of culture, that dog eat dog, winner, loser prospect is not the path of Christ. Certainly not for me. Not what I hear in this text. That's the way that the world wants me to live. Now, to some degree, I live in this world, and I completely, in this body, I am bound by this world. But I don't have to value the same things that the world seems to value, that this culture seems to value. I can instead seek a different way, the way that this text speaks about as the way of the Great Spirit of God, the way that rejects the competitive need to move ahead of someone else. That instead I can follow a different path. And if I'm remembering back to what this path that's been delineated in this text, it's the path of love. And not just love for myself and love for my family, and therefore rushing and racing to be ahead of everyone else so that I can provide more for them than anybody else gets. But rather the love of all. Perhaps even the love of the material in this world, the trees and the grass and the earth itself, the birds that sing beautiful songs to me on a daily basis. Perhaps valuing the world in that way, not to grasp it or to own it, to lord it over anyone else, but simply to receive it as gift, as a part of my life. Most of the things I value, can value most in this life are not things I have earned. They're simply things that have been gifted me. This body, this mind, these eyes, this way of seeing, this world in which I live, are all gifts. So I encourage you, take some time with the text. Maybe it'll speak something different into your life. Maybe if you read it in a different translation, it will say something different, different images, different words, phrases. But whatever it is, I encourage you, if you want, on our Facebook or YouTube, if that's where you're watching it and you want to respond to what rose for you, I encourage you to do just that. And continue to practice. This is a way letting Spirit speak anew and afresh into our lives. Until the next time we see one another, or that you see me, because I may or may not see you physically. I wish you all the best. Remember, you're infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift